Good afternoon. I'm grateful that the Senator has made this venue available to call attention to the unfortunate situation that families are still losing their homes and many are sitting in limbo for years not knowing their fate. Take, for example, Regina, who came to Brand New Day for help with her mortgage. She had heard about the HAMP program, and her mortgage was with one of the larger banking institutions. Her mortgage payment was $1,200 a month, and she was current until she lost her job unexpectedly. She was unemployed for 3 months before finding employment significantly less than her previous job. Unemployment and underemployment are the #1 factors facing customers who come into our office today. Brand New Day worked with Regina to submit her modification request. After 90 days, she was approved for a trial modification, and the next 120 days were spent resubmitting documents, numerous phone calls, and lots of tears as she waited for a permanent modification. 6 months of waiting to find out the fate of her homeownership status and the memories of sacrifices she and her husband had made to purchase a home for their family were all flooding her with emotions. Thoughts of where she and her family would live if the loan was not approved, where her children would go to school, where would they play, where would they raise their children. After all, she and her husband had chosen this house, this neighborhood, these neighbors. Another 30 days went by before she was scheduled to meet with her counselor. It has now been over 8 months and still no resolution. She was saddened to hear during her appointment that the request had been denied. The counselor advised her not to give up because in New Jersey, we have other programs. The state's mediation program would give her an opportunity to speak directly to the bank and make her case. Together with the counselor, the mediation application was prepared and submitted. More waiting. Regina's mediation date was scheduled for 2 months out, but at least she could sleep sound at night knowing that the sheriff would not show up at the door to remove her family while waiting for her mediation date. A week before the mediation date, Brand New Day worked with her to update all of her paperwork and send it into the bank in preparation for the mediation process. So Regina found herself frustrated and confused when the lender's attorney reported to the mediation unprepared and requesting that the process be continued. On many occasions, cases at mediation are continued 2 and 3 times, leaving homeowners in their houses, but uneasy, insecure, and full of anxiety. In addition, while decisions are prolonged, fees and interest continue to accrue, making negotiations with lenders even more difficult. It's our recommendation that fees and interest be suspended during the foreclosure modification process. In addition, the process would be simplified and more effective if counselors had direct access to the person who has the power to negotiate and make the decision regarding the modification. Regina finally, after an unsuccessful mediation process, said that she would pursue a short sale and put her house on the market. At that point, she felt hopeless and believed that this was her only option. The home stayed on the market for many months with no offer. There were so many homes on the market that at that time and in her neighborhood, there was extremely low demand. She finally got an offer much less than what she owed to the bank, in fact, $70,000 less. The offer was submitted to the bank and Regina found herself yet again playing the waiting game. She waited for months with no response from the bank to approve the short sale. The housing counselor at Brand New Day told Regina not to get frustrated. There's a program called Cash for Keys that we can negotiate on your behalf if you decide that you want to move out. Regina was desperate. She and her housing counselor made arrangements for the exchange. Unfortunately, the cash arrived many months after she had moved, and the funds could not be used to help with her relocation expenses. Banks should be required to give the cash within 30 days of the homeowner vacating the property. Regina and her family are now renting an apartment in another town in another community. The children are now attending school at a new school and have made new friends. There's a great distance between where she lives and where she works. The family would have been better served if they could have remained in their house as tenants. Banks should be encouraged to allow homeowners to lease back the properties after foreclosure so they can maintain stability for their family and avoid vacancy in our neighborhoods. In closing, Regina's story can be multiplied by thousands across the state and millions across the country. Many of the current federal and state programs could be more useful if guidelines were less restrictive. There are so many people that need help and their situations are so different. that we spend numerous hours as counselors trying to determine who qualifies for what program and trying to qualify the unqualifiable. In addition, our counselors are an invaluable part of the process in aiding a family from the first late payment through resolution, which could mean a loan modification, but also could be transitioning into a new living situation. Funding for housing counselors has been significantly cut in the state and federal budgets. And as demand continues and in many cases increases, we need dollars to pay salaries and related costs. Banks should be responsible to assist with the cost of healing our communities. So I want to thank you for your attention to this important matter and ask the Senator that you continue to have conversations and dialogue with housing counseling agencies as we try to help families in New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you.